The recent legal battle involving Jehovah's Witnesses in Norway has brought to light complex issues surrounding religious freedom, state regulations, and financial support for religious organizations. On March the 4th, 2024, the Norwegian court delivered a significant ruling that denied Jehovah's Witnesses appeal and upheld the state's decision to withhold certain privileges, including grants and registration under the Religious Communities Act. However, this case sheds light on the stance of Jehovah's Witnesses regarding financial support. To understand the significance of the recent legal battle, it is essential to delve into the history of Jehovah's Witnesses in Norway and their relationship with the state. Jehovah's Witnesses, known for their distinct beliefs and practices, have faced challenges in various countries due to their refusal to participate in certain societal norms such as military service and saluting the flag. In Norway, they have been recognized as a religious community since the early 20th century, but their status has been subject to scrutiny and regulation by the state. The trial went into depth about how the organization coerces young children into getting baptized and the aftermath that follows when being excommunicated from the organization. Former Jehovah's Witnesses played a major part in exposing the harmful teachings and guidelines of the organization's strict practices. Well, this case also exposes the lies contained in the Watchtower with regarding to solicitation and funding. We must remember that Watchtower long prided itself on not soliciting money, criticizing greedy churches for demanding collections and tithes. Watchtower has amassed a fortune. They have 5 main pillars supporting its growth into a multi-billion-dollar financial empire. Number 1 is literature sales. Number 2, financial donations. Number 3, volunteer labor. Number 4, real estate. And number 5, corporate investment schemes. Upon launching the Watchtower Society in 1879, founder Russell claimed that if Jehovah was backing the organization, there would never be a need to beg, petition, or take a collection for money. This quote says, "We have never considered it proper to solicit money for the Lord's cause after the common custom. It is our judgment that money raised by the various begging devices in the name of our Lord is offensive, unacceptable to him, and does not bring his blessings either upon the givers or the work accomplished." That's according to the Watchtower 1899. Now, Russell's stance continues to be quoted with pride. As seen here in this quote, as early as the second issue of the Watchtower in August 1879, Brother Russell stated, "Zion's Watchtower has, we believe, Jehovah for its backer, and while this is the case, it will never beg nor petition men for support. When he who says all the gold and silver of the mountains are mine fails to provide necessary funds, we will understand it to be the time to suspend the publication." Consistent with that, there is no begging for money in the literature of Jehovah's Witnesses. That's according to the Proclaimer's book, page 340. As a publishing company, Watchtower amassed considerable wealth from the sale of literature from the 1800s to the 1990s. There was no need to resort to the same collection efforts typical of other religious groups. This changed in 1990 with a tax ruling against Jimmy Swaggart. The United States Supreme Court determined, despite religious not-for-profit status, Swaggart was liable for tax on the sale of religious material. Now, the sale of Watchtower publications fell under this ruling, and Watchtower decided that rather than pay tax on the money it was receiving from the sale of Watchtower literature, it would be better to direct Jehovah's Witnesses to start asking for donations from people who accepted Watchtower journals in the house-to-house ministry work. Now, this led to a decline in income. And during the same period, the global publishing industry was experiencing a decline in revenue and profits due to the mainstream launch of the internet in around about 1995. This further exacerbated the revenue declines Watchtower was experiencing from no longer being able to sell its books and magazines.
But now, I would like to address the valuable things that may have first come to mind: material possessions or financial giving and support. As you know, for over 130 years, this organization has never solicited for funds, and it is certainly not going to start now. We don't send out monthly statements to each of Jehovah's Witnesses specifying a dollar amount that should be submitted to finance the work worldwide. Most donations, in fact, are contributed anonymously. Over the years, I have told various Bible students that a person could attend our meetings for 20 years and never put a penny in the contribution box, and we would not know it. Jehovah, of course, would know it, but we would not, because the donations are anonymous, but from the heart. We don't know who gives what. But for a certainty, any donations received do not line anyone's pockets and are not misappropriated. They are all used in supporting theocratic endeavors worldwide. As described in Matthew 24:45-47, the governing body prayerfully and sincerely endeavors to be not only the faithful slave, but also the discreet slave in wisely managing the master's resources. And please, dear brothers and sisters, pray for Jehovah to help us to be successful in being not only faithful, but also discreet. So in an effort to keep you informed of the support that is needed for this great work, I have the following information to share. We have looked forward to this next fiscal year and projected the expenditures for all of the theocratic initiatives we are scheduling. In doing the math, we found that the amount of money flowing out will be much greater than the amount of money that we have coming in at this time. Additionally, please think about this. Today, how many publishing companies print publications in the many languages that Jehovah's organization does? The answer? None. And why is that? It is because they cannot make a financial profit. We, however, are accelerating our method of translating publications into indigenous languages. This involves building or purchasing regional translation offices, or RTOs. These will be strategically located in the part of a country with the highest concentration of native speakers of the language.
Let's start by asking a question. Should the governing body and the brothers who are taking the lead in our organization just mainly focus on spiritual matters and not be concerned about financial matters? Well, some may answer, yes, that's what they should be doing, and perhaps these ones may even feel a little embarrassed if money matters are mentioned at meetings or in JW broadcasting. Perhaps they may feel that there's a precedent back in Acts chapter 6, where it speaks about the days after Pentecost, where the daily food distribution was taking place. We remember there the apostles decided that they would delegate that work, the work of giving food at the tables, to a group of men. And remember, they said they would focus then on the spiritual aspects, prayer and so on. So is this the basis then for us to say that we should just focus on spiritual matters? Well, even looking at that account, we realize that the apostles were very much involved with the arrangement, weren't they? They set the arrangement in place. They made sure the food distribution took place, even though they personally didn't go to the tables and hand out the food. But when we look at the scriptures, we see very clearly that although we have a spiritual responsibility, a spiritual work that we need to do, but also there is a physical side to the relief ministry and many other aspects that we need to be concerned about. And this gives us a reason, we could say, for the policy or the viewpoint that the governing body has with regard to helping others. So 2 Corinthians 8:13 through 15. For I do not want to make it easy for others, but difficult for you, but that by means of an equalizing, your surplus at the present time might offset their need, so that their surplus might also offset your deficiency, that there may be an equalizing. Just as it is written, the person with much did not have too much, and the person with little did not have too little. What's the principle here? The principle is that even though these contributions were being given to poor brothers and sisters, everyone had to do something. It wasn't just a charity where you gave money to the poor, but rather there was an expectation that each person, whether they were poor or they had more, would do something towards the situation. And that's exactly the view the governing body takes today. Yes, Bibles and Bible literature are provided free of charge, without cost, to our brothers in all parts of the earth. And the brothers then donate according to their means. Kingdom halls are being built in many countries that can't afford to build kingdom halls. And yet again, the governing body allows the opportunity for the brothers in those countries to also donate toward the construction of kingdom halls. Why? Christendom would probably say, well, these are poor people, let's just make it a charity. But you see, Jesus didn't stop the widow from putting the 2 coins in, did he? He didn't say, look, hold on, you need that, you're poor, let the rich people put money in. No, Jesus allowed her to make that donation. Why? Because that was her gift to Jehovah, and Jehovah would bless her for doing that. So when we think about what's happening with regard to our organization, not only there's printing of Bibles, literature, building of kingdom halls, and also this huge disaster relief that continues on. What can we be happy with? We can be happy with the viewpoint of the governing body, and we can be very happy that the publishing committee of the governing body does look after our limited means. Yes, they care for the money so that when the governing body makes decisions about what needs to be done, they don't say there's no money for it. No, they make sure that our limited funds are available for the important work to spiritually feed people, but also help them in a physical sense too.
Watchtower did not need to pass a collection plate whilst it was making money from selling the books and the literature. When this income stream started to dry up, Watchtower was forced to look to other sources of income. And in the 21st century, there has been a noticeable shift in 2 areas: more open requests for donations and changes in the ownership of kingdom halls. And throughout the years, Jehovah's Witnesses in Norway have encountered legal obstacles and discrimination, including bans on their literature and restrictions on their activities. However, they have also enjoyed certain privileges, such as grants and registration under the Religious Communities Act, which have facilitated their religious practices and organizational activities. But this next quote stands out for me. This quote says, "How is our worldwide work financed? We do not tithe, charge dues, or take up collections. Although the costs of supporting our evangelizing work are high, we do not solicit money. Over a century ago, the second issue of the Watchtower magazine stated that we believe we have Jehovah as our backer and that we will never beg nor petition men for support. And we never have. Our activities are supported by voluntary donations." That's according to Jehovah's Will, the book in 2014. The recent legal battle in Norway stemmed from the state's decision to withhold grants and registration from Jehovah's Witnesses, citing their concerns over their practices, particularly regarding child protection and community exclusion. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses contested these decisions, arguing that they infringed upon their religious freedom and property rights. However, the court ruled in favor of the state, emphasizing the need to balance rights and interests and considering the legitimate purpose behind the differential treatment. The court highlighted the importance of religious freedom and equal support for all faith communities, acknowledging Jehovah's Witnesses' right to express their beliefs. However, it also recognized the state's responsibility to protect the rights of others and maintain democratic support for registration and subsidies. The court found no substantial reasons to deem the state's decision as unreasonable, ultimately dismissing the claims of interference with religious freedom and property rights, which was brought by the Watchtower organization. One of the notable aspects of this legal battle is the apparent contradiction between Jehovah's Witnesses' stance on financial support and their reliance on state subsidies. They have long emphasized their refusal, as we've seen, to beg nor petition men for support as stated in their own literature. However, their acceptance of state subsidies contradicts this principle, raising questions about their consistency of their beliefs. Now, while Jehovah's Witnesses may argue that state subsidies are necessary for their religious activities and organizational expenses, their reliance on external financial support undermines their claims of self-sufficiency and independence. Moreover, their acceptance of state subsidies raises ethical concerns about their commitment to their principles. The legal battle involving Jehovah's Witnesses in Norway underscores the complex interplay between religious freedom, state regulations, and financial support for religious organizations. Now, while they have the right to express their beliefs, the state also has a responsibility to safeguard the rights of others and maintain democratic support for registration and these subsidies. Now, the court's ruling reflects a careful balancing of rights and interests, emphasizing the need to uphold these fundamental principles while addressing legitimate concerns. Moving forward, it remains to be seen how Jehovah's Witnesses will navigate their relationship with the state and reconcile their principles with the realities of financial support.